Hello, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. And if you've been with me since January of 2023, you will know that Embracing the Fight is about normalizing the conversations surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns. Now, why would anybody want to talk about that? Sure, the world already has enough, sad and terrible things going on, but imagine if people were to talk about the things that bothered them. Wouldn't those sad and terrible things go down? Could they potentially go away? I don't know, but let's try. How do we try? We talk about it. We sit down, we really listen, and we try to come up with solutions to help people with the things that they're dealing with. Now, the only way we can do that is if we start with you. Have you subscribed to Embracing the Fight? If you haven't, you can find me everywhere on social media. That's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. And it's all Embracing the Fight. The only difference is Instagram is Embracing the Fight underscore. Now that I've gotten the business of everything out of the way, you'll see that I have a very beautiful guest today, and I'm so excited to have her here. This is episode 108, Why Me? But before we get started, I'm going to give her a chance to introduce herself. And anybody who watches Embrace and Fight knows that all of my guests tell how we met. So we'll start with that. So, first, who are you?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Karenmay Marshall, and I met Erica through a mastermind. Yay! Erica and it seems like we share similar interests. And I don't know, during our mastermind, we were answering questions, asking questions, and we were paired in a group together. And it just felt great and normal. So we decided to talk, and here I am today.
God is so intentional. Every time I ask for something, he just say, "Okay, you need somebody to collaborate with to work on something that's dealt with some things. Here you go."
Here you go. Yes, ask and ye shall receive.
All right. So, Karen May,
hmm
tell us why you named the episode 107. Why me?
Well, I named the episode Why Me because although I don't look like it, I was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago. Yes, I said it 5 years ago during the pandemic. You know what was
Mm.
that? The pandemic. So imagining you just ring in the new year,
Mhm.
then you have a doctor's appointment, and then your doctor says, um, I'm going to change your appointment. Your appointment's at 12. You were my first patient. Can you be my last patient?
Mm.
You're like, why? What happened? And
Mm.
then you get there and everybody's gone. Like I've been sitting in the office for like, let's say my appointment's at 2 o'clock,
Mhm.
and I'm sitting and I'm walking. Like the office is empty. Is she
Mhm.
gonna come see me? What's
Like she
happening
forgive
here?
me.
Did you Yes. I went to the lady at the counter. I was like, how did she forget me? They're like, no, she didn't. And then finally she came and got me when the office was almost empty. It was just all the workers. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she weighed me, did all the things, right? So everything seemed normal.
Mhm.
And then I was placed into a room. And then, you know, again, there was a delay.
Mhm.
And then I could hear like noise outside, and I kid you not. And I had a nurse practitioner.
Mhm.
I heard her put her hand on the door, sigh, like took a deep breath, and
Mm.
exhale and open the door. And hi, Karen May, how are you today? And
Wow.
you could tell that she was trying to be upbeat and happy, but she had something to tell me
Mhm.
and just didn't know how to tell me. And she sat down and she started crying. The most,
Wow.
and I'm like, is everything all right? And I remember her saying, yes. She said, everything is all right, but I don't like what I see. and I would like for you to um, get a second opinion.
Mhm.
No, I'm mixing up my timelines. I'm mixing up my timelines. I am.
Mhm.
This was after I did all the things because I had done so let me backtrack a little,
Okay.
okay? So in 2019, um my mother, so let me tell you my little short story about my life.
Okay.
So I'm lucky and blessed. I have two moms, two dads, two everything.
Mhm.
Everybody's like, well, yeah, everybody has two grandmas too. Well, so my mother um is the seventh child of, seven, six siblings. She's his number seven, and she's the youngest.
Mhm.
And she gave me up for adoption to my aunt. So my aunt is my mom.
Okay.
So to honor both of them, because I love them both,
Mhm.
I call my aunt mom. I call
Mhm.
my mother mommy to
Mhm.
differentiate the two. So I'm very, you know, distinct. And so my mommy, she was diagnosed with um, cancer as well.
Mhm.
Um, she had uterine cancer, and she didn't really last. Like as soon as we found out, it was like within months because it was already um, it has like spread it, so sooner or later, like let's say we found out in May, by like October of 2019, she was gone.
Mhm.
So I was busy taking care of her.
Mhm.
And I remember my husband saying to me one day, he's like, you know, there's a lump in your breast. And I was like, yeah, I've had that's normal. I've had that, tested before and all the things. And he's like, no, it seems like it's growing. And I'm like, you know,
Mhm. Wait, let's put a pin right there. Now that's amazing. A lot of I'm not gonna generalize men, but your husband paid so much attention to your body that he saw a change and he loved you enough to stop, pause, and say something about it. I know you cheering for him right now, but okay, let's go on from there. You
yes, I kept
husbands like
like,
that.
oh, you're so, because he is very, like, he notices everything as well. We work well together. We balance each other out. He's a Libra. So anyway, so I'm like, oh, you're just overreacting. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. And then he's like, well, why can't you just check it out? I was like, well, I'm busy. I have all the things. So after I buried my mom, he's like, okay, well then you don't have all the things. Like, what's preventing you now? I'm
Mhm.
like, work. I have all these things. And he was like, those things are always going to be there. You got
Mhm.
to take care of you. And I was like, so you know how it is. You're like, okay, I'll make an appointment. And then I remember going to work, and you have a work bestie. And
Mhm.
I remember saying, I went up to my work bestie and I said, hey, so and so, do you think it's weird if we go into the bathroom? I said, my husband says like he felt this lump. Would you think it's weird if you just go in the bathroom, you felt it and tell me what you think?
Mhm.
She was like, absolutely not. Let's go. And I was like, okay, let's
I
go.
like her too.
You know? And so, she was like, yeah, no, I don't like that. And I was like, so then I was like, okay. So then I had another, like my work mom now, right? Because you're with these people 8 hours a day.
Mhm.
So I told her the situation and she was like, no, you gonna call and make an appointment. I don't, mm-mm. And I was like, okay. And I will never forget this. Shout out to her.
Mhm.
And she wrote it down on a post-it note and was like, here are some doctors in the area.
Okay.
So then I called and I explained to the lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and she stood at my door. She stood in my doorway and made sure I called.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I forgot to say. So she was a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Called and then they said, no, you have to go, you have to go backwards. You have to go get a checkup. Somebody has to be concerned, and then they have to send you to us. So I was like fast forwarding the process, right?
Right.
So then that's when I went to, well, my PCP, during that time in 2019, 2020, we were having issues with the medical field. There were not enough doctors to serve the population.
Right.
So I couldn't get appointment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to my OBGYN,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how my journey started. And so now we're going to fast forward back to January 2nd because I did the mammogram, I did all the things,
Mm-hmm.
the biopsy, all the things. And I'm going back, and, you know, my nurse practitioner sat me down, teary-eyed, and said, um, you know, I don't know what stage, I don't know what phase, but unfortunately, you have cancer. And I remember the Charlie Brown effect, you know, like it's wah, 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 wah,
Yep.
wah, wah, wah. That's all I heard. You have cancer. I don't know what stage, I don't know what phase. And then everything else faded in the background. Okay. And um and then she started crying. And I that mo in that moment, I was like, why are you crying? I'm the one affected.
Right.
You get defensive, right? First, because
Yeah.
you're upset, you're angry.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I get, and I wear my expressions on my face. So then she said, this hits home for me because I just went through this. She's like, you're going to be okay. I'll be there every step of the way with you. You need anything, you let me know. Now, she took off her nurse practitioner's hat and she became a human. And she's like, we got this. We're going to fight. Okay. And right then and there, that's when I decided we gonna fight. Because here's this stranger, right? Well, she's not a stranger, but you know,
Right.
she's a stranger. And she's like pep talking me and getting me, she's cheering for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even cheering for myself. So why not?
Right.
After I went through my phase, why me? Why me? Why me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I said, okay, we're gonna fight.
Okay. And now just listening to this, it's so interesting. I mean, the OBGYNs of the world need a huge celebration because that's how I found out about my cancer.
Oh, awesome.
And when you said that, I was just like, wow, OBGYNs don't even check your thyroid.
Well, not only that, let's stop for a minute.
Mhm.
A nurse practitioner who's a
Right,
doctor without the title,
right.
kudos to them.
Hmm.
Not that the doctors don't care,
Hmm.
right? But the nurse practitioners, it's like, I don't want to say they have something to prove, but it's like people don't feel like because they don't have the doctor title, people it's like they have to prove themselves. So
Right.
shout out to her. She advocated to me. And I'll tell you another story.
Hmm.
Another story. Oh, here comes my vacuum. I'll tell you another story. I remember when I went to go get my mammogram.
Hmm.
At the time, I may have been, let's say 34,
Hmm.
right? And so I wasn't of age for a mammogram. And I remember when I called to make the appointment, they were like, you're too young.
Oh,
And I remember calling her back and saying to her, me and my nurse practitioner, and I said, and we're gonna give my nurse practitioner a name to, just so that we can keep the story straight. We're
hmm.
gonna call her Amber because I have a lot of Ambers in my life. So I'm gonna go with Amber.
All right.
And I said, Amber, I called the, X, Y, and Z place that you suggested that I go
Hmm.
get my mammogram, and they told me I am too young. And boy, I'll tell you.
I know she went off.
Oh, she did. She said, what? Who said that?
Mhm,
What is the person's name?
mhm.
And where did you call? May I have that number? Honey, let me tell you, at the end of the day,
You had your
I
appointment.
got an appointment. So shout out to the nurses practitioners out there. We don't celebrate you enough.
That's true.
Celebrating you today
That,
because and every day because of you, man.
mhm. That's true because my nurse practitioner is the one who figured out the type of blood pressure medicine I should be taking. The doctor that I had was giving me something that was making my blood pressure sky high. She took a part of it away. My blood pressure's been normal ever since. No
Mhm.
issues. And it's like, I don't understand why people don't, really gravitate more towards them because not saying that you should gravitate away from your doctor, but the nurse practitioners that I've come across, they really care. They
They
really
care, they
support
have
you.
time, they do the
Right.
research. Again, like, and I'm saying this not to like downplay them or downgrade them. It's like they have to prove to society that they're worthy. So they go above and beyond.
Oh, yeah.
Not because they're trying to prove something, it's because they're trying to tell you and show you we are out here.
Yep.
We're just as qualified.
Mhm.
Choose us too.
Right.
Choose us
Right.
too.
Okay. So now, at this point, you've gotten, your diagnosis. And earlier you were saying that she was saying you should get a second opinion. Did you get a second opinion?
Well, she had told me to get a second opinion, sorry.
Mhm.
Um, when with the lumps. Sorry, that was in the beginning. So I
Okay.
misspoke. It was the lumps. And then the second opinion was when she sent me for I did the mammogram and then oh, and shout out to the technicians,
Mm-hmm.
x-ray
Ultrasound.
and old ultrasound technicians.
Mm-hmm.
Think they don't know what they doing, they're just technicians. But let me tell you,
Oh, they know.
they done seen a thing or two. And let me tell you, when I was in the room, getting my first I did my mammogram and they were really nice. She was like, you know, um, I'm not a doctor or you know, a technic they have a name. It's not technician, but I'm gonna go with technician for the story's sake.
Mhm.
She's like, um, so we're just gonna do a second check, which is the ultrasound. She's like, no need to worry. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, girl, you know what you see. You know what
Mhm.
you see. Like, but you're trying not to alarm me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're trying not to, because, you don't have the title, right? You just have the technician title. You don't have like the, you know, radiation specialist or whatever to read or whatever, you know. And so, um, so then when I went to the second room, the lit girl who did the ultrasound, same thing. She's looking, she's taking photos, and I could just see on her face, she's like alarmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, she's trying to be calm. And then she's like, one moment, I'm gonna go get the doctor now, right?
Radiologist. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to to because I can't read these.
Mm-hmm.
You can read these. You can read it. You're just not allowed
Right.
because you don't have the proper license or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And um, the, I tell you what, in that moment, I took my cell phone out. I called my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Said, honey, I'm gonna tell you right now, I have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, why are you saying that? Don't say that. Why are you always thinking? I was like, because the way they're acting
Mm-hmm.
and the way they're I said, I have cancer. He was like, oh man. And so afterwards, um, when I was diagnosed or whatever, I was fast forwarding back to January because this all happened in December, like right around Christmas.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the diagnosis, and it was like full speed ahead. So I had to wait for my my diagnosis January 2nd, and I'll never forget it, January 2nd, 2022. And then afterwards, so like I said, I sat in that office for a little bit and I'm there and I was crying. I text my husband. I couldn't talk to him on the phone because I was, and he was like, do you want me to um come and pick you up? I was like, no, I'm good. I could drive home because I needed that time to figure out
Mhm.
what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Because not only that, I'm a mom. I have two kids, so I gotta get myself together for
Yep.
these two babies that I had. So I took my time, I drove home, and let me tell you what home was at that time.
Mhm.
So I had the bright idea because I'm always, it's behind every good man, there's a good woman, right? And I always come up with the ideas. And my husband, he weighs things. He's a Libra. Everything has to balance. But ultimately, he normally goes through with it, but he works it through so that if it fails or nothing happens, or anything happens, I should say, he already calculated that and he's already ready to swoop in and save the
Mhm.
day for me, okay?
Mhm.
He's my knight in shining armor. But don't tell him I said that. Don't tell him I said that.
He'll hear it. He'll hear it.
And um, so I had the bright idea. I was like, oh, you know, I wanted to move into a different school district so my kids could go to a different school. And so we sold our home. I didn't think it was going to go this quickly, my home. So we sold our home. We were homeless. Not, we were living, we decided to live in a extended stay hotel until our house was finished built because we had our house, it sold, and we thought we could sell it and live there until our house was finished. But the
Some people were like, no, this is
I
our
was
house
like,
now.
oh, I need to get my kid in school. They were coming from like, I don't remember, like Texas or,
Mhm.
some other state. And they were like, sorry, but we need our house, and I was like, okay, because I was going to rent it back. I had a whole idea. I was like, all right, well, we were living in an extended stay hotel. And so I was like, what am I going to do?
Mhm.
How am I going to,
Mhm.
and like, what's going to happen? And I remember going home, and I'm in the hotel sitting there boo-hooing. I text everybody at work, not feeling well today. I'm not going to work today. Can't come in today. I thought I was going to be able to work, but after a while, I was like, I can't work. I'm fine.
So had they given you the diagnosis at this point, or was this just at the point where you had told yourself that you had cancer? I mean, like the stage and all that. Did they give you all that?
Staging? No, I found the staging out like later on.
Okay.
This is January. This is me finding out I have cancer and I need to go elsewhere.
Okay.
But you have cancer. My nurse practitioner did not know the staging,
Mhm.
but all she could tell me was that it was an aggressive cancer. I need to, act quickly. And like January 2nd,
Mhm.
um, January 2nd was a Friday too. I'm telling you, you don't forget. And January 2nd was a Friday. And um, Monday, I had an appointment
Mhm.
with, you know, the whole, like the breast cancer division, like uh, the breast specialist and all the things, um, on Monday.
Mhm.
But in that moment, I remember my nurse practitioner said, is there anything you need? And I remembered why, I'm not sure, but it came out. I said, I am not okay. I normally know how to keep everything compartmentalized, but right now, I'm like a jack in the box and everything is, all my cards are on the table. I said, what I need a therapist because I need to talk to someone. I
Mhm.
said, because my mom just died. I buried my mom. Now I have cancer
Mhm.
and I don't know what to do. And I'll tell you what, that Monday at 8 a.m., I was in, I was seeing a therapist, and not just any old therapist. He was a former oncologist. So it was great for me
That's
because
good.
he told me all the things. 'Cause I had all the questions. Why me? What
Yeah.
did I do? I am pleasant. I am lovely. Why me?
Mhm.
You know? And and it was great.
Mhm.
Could talk to me about the things I need to talk to. He could answer questions that I may have about the process.
Mhm.
And he too, you know, reassured me that the type of cancer I had, which was breast cancer, um, is common.
Mhm.
There are many technologies and have no fear.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
know,
So
you know.
at what point did you actually figure out the stage that you were in at that point?
So, um, my breast surgeon, she, based on technology, whatever, she had diagnosed me as uh stage 2.
Okay. And then with them saying that it was stage two, she gave you a plan of action, like what's next and all that. So what did she tell you?
Based on what I could remember, because remember, my Charlie Brown effect came in.
Yeah.
I remember her saying, we have to move quickly. Um, we have to find. So at the time, I'm 34. My daughter was 4,
Mhm.
and I, you, I had to go to pool parties. I got to go all those things. So I was like, you, you want to take my breaths? What's happening? You know?
Mhm.
And then, so I wanted to do reconstruction at the same time. So I
Mhm.
had to find a surgeon. So she had a surgeon that she recommended, um, and he agreed to meet me and agreed to, do all the things. But again, COVID was new.
Mhm.
Well, we're going through the time is passing, and the only thing my doctor keeps saying is that this cancer is very aggressive. We got to move quickly. So they scheduled this is January like 6th. And she's like, okay, we want to schedule the first available appointment I have is uh, February, sorry, February 8th. But to, so that the schedules can align so you could do your reconstruction right away. Um, the earliest we have is like February 22nd.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, sure, whatever, sure, whatever. And normally I like to research, I like to challenge, I like to do all the things, but something in me at that moment was like, I'm I'm not gonna fight. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna fight that. I'm not gonna resist that portion of my treatment. I
Right.
said, these are the professionals. Let them do what they do best. And that's what I did.
Okay.
And they came up with a treatment plan with me and for me,
Mhm.
and I just went along with it.
Okay. So after the surgery, did you have to do any chemotherapy or did you have to take like any form of radiation, whether it's like through pills or intravenously or anything like that?
So, um, for me, so after I had surgery,
Mhm.
um, they staged me properly.
Mhm.
I was actually stage 3.
Mhm.
I was, I think 3C, um, and it had metastasized. And what that means is that it had spread.
Mhm.
And um, it had metastasized in my lymph node.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know who's in tune with their bodies, but I'm gonna just keep it PG because I like simple.
Mhm.
Lymph nodes is a highway. Think of it as the highway to your entire body.
Yep.
And so when I heard that, I
Yeah.
was,
I was like, oh my God. Yep.
so my right breast and my left breast, I decided to get rid of both because they had found a lump in my left breast, and then she's like, now I'm gonna have to watch it. And I was like, I don't want to have to go through this
Like
twice.
break
Let's
it.
get rid of them.
Mhm.
And she removed my lymph nodes, and 14 out of the 20 lymph nodes were infected.
So at that moment when she told you that, how did you feel? I mean, what was going through your mind?
How did I let that happen? Who, if like self care? In that moment, I said, no, you got to take better care of yourself. You can't take a, you can't take care of everybody around you and not take care of yourself because then you won't be here to take care of the people you love. And at that moment, to be honest, I fly all the time.
Mhm.
I love a quick trip. And,
Guilty.
and at that moment, it made sense to me because you can hear words, but words have to have meaning in order for it to resonate with you.
Mhm.
And so in that moment, what came to mind was, when you're on a flight and they're like, put on your oxygen mask before you can put on, before you help others.
Yep.
In that moment, I decided to put my oxygen mask on first. Because if I'm not healthy and well,
You feel it.
I won't be able to be here to see my daughter walk down the aisle, see my son walk down the aisle, see my grandchildren and things like that. So I was like, I gotta take care of me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a mindset change.
Mhm. And it's interesting to me too that you said you decided, to have the double mastectomy and then reconstruction, because a lot of people, like, well, I want to keep one because I want to feel, like a woman. Did you go through that stage of saying, I'm just not going to have any breasts anymore? And, how did you feel?
Ah, ooh, it was a tough journey because I did the reconstruction, or I think they call it like immediate reconstruction, or there's a name.
Mhm.
And so I had these uh, silicone inserts, uh, and, oh, they hurt. I don't know. Power to you women out there that do this for fun.
Mhm.
Maybe because it was my situation, maybe why it was hurting. I don't know, but ooh, it was not comfortable. Because
Mhm.
nobody told me, because everything happened so quickly. So it was January,
Mhm.
uh, February had my surgery, and then you're still trying to live a normal life. My children, my son, my daughter and son dances. My son runs track, play basketball, do all the things, does karate, all
Mhm.
the things, and I'm still trying to be a normal person so they can have a normal life.
Mhm.
And we would go bowling. It's cold outside, and then I was like, oh, what's happening?
You could feel it. Oh my goodness.
Yes, it was like a
Yeah.
bone chill inside. Like it was, oh man, it's something that I couldn't explain. And I'm like, and this is what people want to go through for fun? No, thank
Mhm.
you. And then it's like my body was rejecting the the silicone.
And this was during the recovery phase, or was this after, you had completely healed and it felt like your body was rejecting, or?
Because there's stages,
Hmm.
stages to the reconstruction phase.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So for me, um, to answer your question from earlier,
Mhm.
based on my staging is what determined whether or not I'll have chemo and radiation. Because I was always going to have chemo because that's like a preventative measure.
Mhm.
But they added the radiation when they learned that it was in my lymph nodes, and 14 of 20 lymph nodes were affected because they just wanted to make sure that they captured or prevented, like if there was cancer anywhere else in my body, even though I did a full body scan or anything and everything, they wanted to make sure that nothing was in my system, or even if it was, they were, zapping it to
Hmm.
kill.
Okay.
So I did chemotherapy.
Hmm.
I did
For how long?
uh 2 months,
Okay.
8 weeks. So I went, I want to say 2 days a week.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like it was three, but my brain is saying two, so I'm gonna go with two. I went for two days a week.
Hmm.
Monday, yes, Monday, Wednesday,
Okay.
and I had chemotherapy, and I had gotten like tamoxifen and I can't remember the other one, but all I can remember is that um the Red Death, and they will suit up. It was, I mean, it had the toxic. You could see like the symbol that
Hmm.
it's
Oh,
toxic,
yeah.
and then the nurse or whomever comes and they're suiting up in their blue. And again, it's COVID, right? So on top of that,
Take it on that.
mask up but the way they did it, it was so gentle with care. You didn't feel like, so I remember, trying to crack a joke. I said, man, you're suiting up. I feel like I need to suit up too because, and she said, oh, no worries. They just do that for us because we're exposed all the time. They try to reduce our exposure to radiation. And let me tell you, these people are risking their lives. They have rings on to capture how much radiation they're getting within a month. And what they do is that because they're exposed to so many things, rays and whatever, if their ring have like a certain amount, they can't work. They have to, because, you know, they're trying to help us, but at the same time, they have to help themselves too. They got to put on their oxygen mask first.
Right.
So, um, so yeah, I remember having that, and I was there for like 6 hours.
Wow.
And then I remember, um, having with the Red Death, it like wipes your whole system.
Mhm.
You know,
And when you say Red Death, what do you mean?
it just that's the nickname that they call it, but it was red and it went through your whole body.
Oh, okay.
It
Okay.
killed the medicine.
Right.
They called it Red Death. But it went through your body and it killed your good your white blood cells, your red blood cell, like it wiped you out.
Mhm.
Okay. And I remember having to drink 64 ounces of water to kind
Mhm.
of flush it out my system. It was very toxic. When you go to the bathroom, you
Mhm.
know, when you would, urinate, it would be red. So I had to drink a lot of water to help flush it out in my system. And until I saw, like, my color comes back to like clear or semi yellow, that's when I knew it was completely out of my system. And then it was right in time to do it all over again because I would do one treatment on Monday and then the other on Wednesday. And then so that over the weekend I could recoup to
Mhm.
start over again on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after, all the treatment, when did you hear the words that you got the opportunity to ring the bell?
Um, that was a glorious day. That was June 20th, 2020.
Mhm.
I rang that bell. I have a video that I could share. It
Okay.
was the best day of my life. I loved everybody in there, and I told them I don't want to ever see you again unless it's at the grocery store.
I don't blame
Yeah, yeah. And then, but my journey wasn't over. I
you.
had to do radiation, but
Mhm.
I had graduated from chemo.
Okay. Okay. So listening to your story, it seems that you had an amazing supporting cast, an amazing support system because you had your husband, your work bestie, your work mom, your nurse practitioner, your therapist, everyone. You were surrounded, by love and support. What would you tell a person that is first diagnosed with breast cancer that say say they're stage 3 and they're just hearing this? What would you advise them to do?
Honestly, don't keep it a secret. You need a network. You network for your job. You network, you know, when, if you have children and they're in a sport or whatever, you network for your health. Find like-minded people. I remember when I was diagnosed that it was all said and done. What I enjoyed at my cancer center, they had people who came in for a short period of time because COVID, and then that all stopped. But you had local churches that would make hats for the women or like little belt, when you have your seat belt, they would have the little cushions for the seat belt, um, or little pillows, because sometimes when you sit up, it's aching. They did wonderful things. And I saw that as an opportunity to connect with the community and others. And so I started asking around, hey, do you know anybody with cancer? And I had a friend who um her cousin was diagnosed. And I asked her, I said, is it okay if I call her, tell her about me? I just want to share my story. I just want to let her know she's not alone. You know, can I reach out?
Mhm.
And because I had such a big support system, I wanted to pay it forward, keep it going. When I came home and I saw flowers or somebody sent me a basket of treats, whether it be blankets or chapstick, hats, whatever, I wanted to pay that forward.
Mhm.
And again, it was COVID. And her cousin lived in Connecticut and I live in Pennsylvania. And her cousin couldn't find uh, Lysol wipes, masks. And I had, where I lived in Pennsylvania, we had not in abundance, but we had enough. And I just said to her, do you mind if I just sent you a care package? And in my care package, I sent all the things. I gave her a scarf, I gave her hats, I gave her all the things that made me feel good during my journey. Then she had children. So I got her masks for her children. I got her gloves. I got her Lysol wipes. And I packaged it up and I just felt so good to be able to help somebody else who
Mhm.
was in need at the time.
Mhm. And
And I felt like I was her community, her network.
mhm.
And I checked in on her and she told me her journey. And it was great. It was great.
And you realize now that you answered your question for the episode.
By me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
He needed someone who's gone through this whole process to go out in the world and say, it's going to be okay. You
Yeah.
got to trust God. You got to keep going because if he did it for me, he could do it for
Good
you.
for you. Amen.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to share about your journey? Any advice or anything helpful, like someone who say may not be able to financially support themselves, during this process? Because I know it has to be very expensive, even when you have, insurance. There are certain things that you have to pay and you have to keep going. What if this is a person that, is on a single income, they can't work and, they have other issues? Do you know of anything that can help person that is dealing with cancer?
So talk to your team. You let them know. If you tell them, the team that I worked with, they were, I mean, phenomenal. They made sure my insurance, um, I don't even know if I should say this, but they made sure that the codes were correct for insurance and
Oh,
did what
that's
we
that you can say that because if the
you could
codes are off, you end up paying way more, than you should. Mhm.
and and I remember I needed some treatment that was brand new, And I remember, oh, her insurance don't pay for it. And the doctor said, she's getting it. We'll find we'll find it somewhere.
Mhm.
Ultimately, it was him getting paid. He said she's gonna get it. And I remember I so there are talk to the hospitals, they have um uh financial aid. They
Mhm.
have, if your insurance don't cover it, they have different grants that you can do. I'm part of a study. They
Mhm.
asked me if I wanted to be a part of a study, you know, for future, you know, they're going to track my progress and using my results to, you know, for future, you know, developments or whatever. And I did that. One of the things I want to say is, um, the other day I went to the doctor for a checkup. And again, like I said, there are phases for your reconstruction, and I need to have some work done. And they gave me a book,
Mhm.
and the book had no one that looked like me. And in that moment, I said, we are going to change this.
Mhm.
And if I have to be the face on that book, we are going to change that. So, you know, there's other people out there like-minded people. Find them, talk to your care provider, find a community.
Mhm.
There, you know, medicines. If there's a medicine you need and you cannot afford it, call the manufacturer. They have coupons. They'll probably even give you the medicine for free. A lot of the times, if you agree to be a part of a study, they again give you the medicine for free or discounted. And You put everything else on Facebook, put it on Facebook or social media. You'll be surprised how many people out there would want to help you. Um, because I know one of my medicine is called Verizenio, and I had to take that for 5 years. And oh, thank God it's done. That medicine made me sick to my core. And
He remembered.
the whole time he didn't bark, and then now he barks.
That's because he said he remembered that time. You know how it was making him feel that he was saying his amen.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Thank you. Sit, sit, sit. No, thank you. It's his buddy passing by, walking. He's like, oh, I want to go out. But um, that medicine costs $14,000.
My.
But for a 30-day supply.
Goodness.
And I remember every time I took that medicine, I was sick because I'm like, there's somebody out here, and I had that guilt. There's somebody out here that can't afford this. And
Mhm.
I felt like we have to change that.
Yeah.
So I would say just talk. You never know tell your story to somebody. You never know who you're talking to. And, you know, um, I'm very resourceful. So if you find my story, you want more details, you know, I don't want to bore everybody with all the gory details, but I have stories. Reach out to Erica, get my contact information. If you want to see me on here again with, you know, if you have questions for me,
Okay.
let me um and we can work together to try to find you what you need to do. You're not alone. Just ask and you shall receive. You never know.
All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wind up this episode of Embracing the Fight?
I just want to say thank you for being in my life. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it. You're helping me fulfill my dream, my goal. Whatever it is God had in store for me. Because like I said, I remember saying, why me? And I remember going through my journey, documenting everything, and I know I needed a platform, but I'm too scared to do it. So this is you helping light
Yeah.
my fire. Maybe, um, who knows? Maybe more might come of this. Maybe somebody out there will say, you know what? I need to hear more. Get in contact with me, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Thank you so much for providing a safe space. It
Mhm.
was very conversational. I was very comfortable. It was unscripted. I have no papers here. And, you know, just me, raw and unfiltered. So,
And I echo everything that you say, mirror it all, because, when you, like she was saying earlier, when you get, in a mastermind or you get in a class, you meet hundreds of people. You see their faces, on the screen, and then some of them are like a blur. Because I'm one of these folks that I can't put the whole gallery up the whole time. I'm trying to look and see other things, and I just have like a small,
me too.
thin, group of people across the top. And every day you were always in my group. It was like God was putting you right front and center. It would have the two ladies that Miss Business and Lindsay Smith, the agent, you would see them, and then there's you, and then it's a couple other people, but the other people kept changing every
Mhm.
day. But every day you were the same, and you were like right in the center. I was like I keep seeing her. And then, we started talking, and then it was like, oh, I see you, God. I see what you're doing here. So I look forward to working with you in the future and continuing to get to know you and build this friendship and this collaboration.
Yeah.
And I just love it all. And thank you so much for taking time out to be on Embrace and Fight. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All
Uh,
right. Well, this concludes episode 108, Why Me, of Embracing the Fight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch it. And as always, I want you to have an absolutely amazing day.